Well, hello, everybody. Bill Thornton, SoCal Saber here. Thank you for stopping by. Saturday, time to talk about some music. And we're going to go over the vinyl albums and CDs from my collections that I listened to this week or entered them into my collections. A little of both. And we'll get going. So, if you haven't done so yet, go down there and hit that like button and subscribe. Help the channel grow. Put some comments down there. Let me tell your friends about this music channel. It's relatively new. I moved it out of the mix of all of the games I was doing to try to get some clarity with it. But here we go. So I started this week off with a 2015 reissue of a big Jethro Tull album. I got to turn this phone off before it rings. Thick as a brick. Well, I had Thick as a Brick in my album. It wasn't very good, and I identified it as needing an upgrade. So, I upgraded once at about, I think it was $9 or $10. It was a real nice cover, but didn't play very good and everything. So I decided, what the heck? I looked on Amazon, and they had this reissue on at a decent price. So I says, I'm just going to go for it so I can hear it. And I'm glad I did, because little did I know, this was not only, this was a Steve Wilson remix. Steve Wilson's been famous for years now for doing the remixes. This really, really sounds good. But also, what was included, look, let's check this out. Look at this. Thick as a brick. Kind of hard to even get the pages open. It's so nice. Music is really good. The overall product, great. This has more reading that you can want, and 24-page booklet. And it goes on and on. Very, very. I have, with this, I have 5 LPs and 1 CD in my collection from Jethro Tull. And I thought that I had a box set, but I looked and I just couldn't find it anywhere. So I may have one, I may not. 180 grain vinyl, played superbly. It listened great. And it's one song. It's one continuous piece of music split up between the two sides. Kind of rare for that to happen, but it did. So this was the 1972 Thick as a Brick reissued 2015 Steve Wilson remix. Started the week off on the right foot. Or the left foot, depending on which way you step. Have Jethro Tull, any Jethro Tull in your album or in your collections? Let me know. Okay, next one I ordered, this was a 2024 issue that I've been thinking about for a while. I didn't read any reviews about it before getting it. And its title is Equals One. Deep Purple. I have 5 LP. This is a 2 LP, 45 RPM record. I have 5 LPs in the collection by Deep Purple. It was their 23rd studio album by the English rock band. Yeah, there is in here. Take a look at it. Just like another book. The books, yeah, there's the lyrics. This was their first album with new guitarist Simon McBride. Replaced Steve Morris in 22. The album has been described as having a loose concept. The idea that the world is growing ever more complex. Everything eventually simplifies down to a single unified essence. Everything goes. Okay. Sometimes the concepts they make me laugh. They're way beyond me, my understanding. So what else? I got any other notes on anything? The album charted in 24 different charts, including number 19 in the U.S. album charts. Look at the vinyl here. Oh, I got it right out here. Okay, it, of course, got to come in on nice purple. Basic zero nothing album labels. You know, Discogs has this ranked as hard rock. In my own opinion, for me anyway, I didn't consider it very heavy, very hard. You know, I liked it. You know, and so overall, you know, I'm going to give this one a G plus for the music and the product. Probably a VG for the product and a G plus on the music, but who am I? Try to understand how to rate albums. I'm not an audiophile. All right, so we're going to be moving on. I got one that I picked up on Whatnot. Wasn't sure what I was getting, but this is 2010 reissue of a 1994 album titled Grace, Jeff Buckley. This is the only thing I have in the collection. I enjoyed this album, and it's the only studio album by the American singer-songwriter. Grace reached number 149, U.S. Billboard 200. Enter. Which was below Columbia's expectations and initially received mixed reviews. In 1997, early 1997, he resumed his work on his second album. And he resumed after moving to Memphis, Tennessee. May 29th, while he was waiting for the rest of his band to get there, he died in a swimming accident in the Wolf River, tributary of Mississippi. Now, this album here, I understand from what I read that, you know, he played as a session artist for quite a few years and run the LA area and so forth. And then he moved back east and he started to pick up a cult following back there. And I could see why. The music was very, very nice on this album. And after his death in 97, its critical standing grew and it was praised by musicians, including Jimmy Page, Robert Plant, Bob Dylan, and David Bowie. By 2011, it had achieved 2 million sales. That was his only album. Grace. 1994, this is a 2010 reissue. Jeff Buckley. Give you a little look at the Columbia Red. Okay. We're still going along pretty well. Week. Today is Saturday. College football. Got it on right over there. I'm a big college football guy on Saturdays, and then Sundays, and like the last 2 nights, I've been watching the NFL. Great football season going on right now. So the next one I picked up on Amazon, and this is called Bless. It's Pointed Little Head by Jefferson Airplane. This is in shrink wrap. Pretty cool that it's in this good a shape. Of course, this was a 1969 LP, but this was a reissue. I have 8 LPs, 1 CD, and a 3 CD box set in the collection. Box set Loves You is out on the channel. Check it out. Tell your friends about it. This album reached number 17 on the Billboard Top LPs chart in March of '69 in 2 other countries. The live album tracks were recorded during the tour TOUR, supporting the album Crown of Creation. Although no songs from that album or its predecessor, After Bathing at Baxter's, are on here. It is live, and I enjoyed the LP because I found on here, it seemed to me anyway, the Jefferson Airplane, the music, there was, because it was live, there was more emphasis on the instrumentation, not the vocals. And I thought that difference was really, really cool. Very nice touch. So, as a JA fan, good product, good sound, I'm going to give this one BG for the week. Oh, we're moving along here. Time to check out a couple CDs from the CD collection. First one we're going to get, number 141. It's a 1992 album by the Archangels. The only thing I have in the collection by them, the debut album by the American band. They were considered a supergroup, and they didn't last too long before breaking up in 1993. They have rejoined a few times over the years and put out some other material and everything, but they just one of their guys had some addiction problems, and they had some problems with between each other, so they broke up in '93 shortly after they got together. Okay, in my database, originally I made a comment that this was very good. After today's listening, or after this week's listening, I would say a G+ is more like it, music-wise. Of course, you don't get too much great products with the CDs, of course, but you get a nice little booklet there. We got a pretty bland E. So that was a 92 album called Archangels by the Archangels. Right. Next CD, number 142, the 1992 album by the Red Hot Chili Peppers titled What Hits? I have 6 CDs in my collection. This is supposedly a greatest hits album by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, but in reality, it was a farce, a joke on that. The album contains tracks from the first 4 albums, as well as a few other selected songs. Various sources. The title of the compilation is a joke, alluding to the relatively lack of success achieved by the Red Hot Chili Peppers during their tenure at EMI, highlighting the irony that many of the tracks included on what is supposed to be the greatest hits compilation were generally singles that peaked notably low in the charts. So I probably bought this because if I have 6 CDs, I like the Red Hot. I would guess that I bought this back in the day, thinking that it's going to be greatest hits. And of course, we didn't have the internet and things to check up on things back then. So me, like many other people, probably figured it was the greatest hits album. Found out differently. Here, put my glasses on. I recognize a few of the songs. In my database, I had made notes when I had first bought this and listened to it. And it said, "Okay, 18 in all, you decide." This listen, music-wise, could only generate a G because of the songs. Did I know about that before I listened to it? Did I know about the joke before I listened to it again this time? No. I listen to the music before I do any research on it. The way I do things. So, with 6 CDs in the collection, I'm sure that's what drove me to buying that one. Okay. Then we're going to go to the last thing of the week. Always the album coming out. This one is number 91. It's a 1978 album by Jerry Rafferty. Shape. City to City. This was Rafferty's first solo release in 6 years and his first release of any kind since 1975. And that was due to his tenure with this as a member of the Steelers Wheels band and the legal complications that resulted that he couldn't release anything for 3 years. The album was well received. It displaced, it's this one, it displaced Saturday Night Fever at number 1 on the U.S. Billboard 200 chart. Show you something. No inner on this one. It reached number 6 the UK albums chart and achieving gold status. Canada, it was certified double platinum. 1979, Baker Street, Right Down the Line, and Home and Dry were hits on the American charts. Now, when we look at this one here, look at the label, you're probably not going to be able to see it anyway. See the tracks. Side 1. Okay? And then when we look at this, side 1 as the second song listed as Baker Street, one of the hits. So it's not. It's all backwards. The label is backwards on here. So, or the way it was typed, because Baker Street is not side 1 on the label or on the album. Oh, that's one of those rarities. That's kind of cool to know you got a rarity, one of the rare mistakes like that. So, it was good. I enjoyed this. Pretty darn good stuff. And, I'm going to give Jerry Rafferty a VG on this one on the music. I like that. Everybody knows Baker Street and Down the Line, those songs. This is the point in time where I pick out 2 that I enjoyed the most this week and see if you agree. If you don't, let me know what you think. Which ones would you have picked if you were picking out of these? Okay? The first one I'm going to go to, I think, is my only VG plus of the whole week. That's the Steve Wilson remix of Thick Brick. That that whole product. Great music and the book and cover and all of that stuff. And secondly, no, I'm not picking Jefferson Airplane. I'm going to pick City to City by Jerry Rafferty. That took me back. 1978 took me back in time, brought back some memories, good memories. I enjoyed it. So that's my choices for this week. I hope everybody enjoyed this show. Tell your friends about it. Let's try to get this channel growing some more. So Cal Saber, take care of yourselves out there. Be kind to each other. Stay safe.